You know what stings more than words? Silence. The kind that settles in when your own family agrees you don't belong. Last night, we had a family meeting. I thought it was about Dad's retirement or maybe Ashley's latest drama, but instead, my sister turned to me smiling and said, "No one wants you here." And my parents? They nodded. Not a flicker of hesitation. No protest, no defense. Just agreement. I didn't argue, didn't scream. I just stood up, walked past them like a ghost, and packed my bags in silence. Now it's morning. I'm waking up on my friend's couch. No breakfast smells, no judgmental stares. Just 39 missed calls from the people who said I didn't matter. Funny. Now they suddenly remember I exist. And that changes everything. Growing up, I learned early that being the middle child meant being invisible. My older sister, Ashley, was the achiever, the beauty, the one with the trophies and applause. My younger brother, Ryan, was the baby, loud, messy, and somehow always forgiven. And me? I was the quiet one, the one who followed the rules, got decent grades, kept my head down, not exceptional enough to be praised, not rebellious enough to be punished. I existed somewhere in the background, reliable, forgettable. At birthdays, Ashley got her own cakes with professional icing and sparkler candles. Ryan got themed parties with balloons and neighborhood friends. I got cupcakes from the grocery store and "Sorry, we've been busy lately." At dinner, if I had something to say, it was usually cut off by Ashley's newest internship or Ryan's soccer story. My voice always seemed to fade into the noise. I remember one Christmas vividly. I had spent weeks saving money from my part-time job at the bookstore to buy Mom a vintage recipe book she'd once mentioned. I wrapped it carefully, wrote a note. She opened it, smiled politely, said, "Thanks, Eliana," then turned to Ashley's gift, a scented candle in a glossy bag, and exclaimed, "Oh wow, this is perfect. You always know exactly what I like." No one noticed the way my fingers curled inward under the tablecloth. It wasn't one big betrayal, it was death by 1,000 small forgettings. The final straw wasn't dramatic, it was quiet. I had won a state-level art competition. I thought, maybe this time, they'd see me, they'd be proud. At dinner, I laid the award certificate next to Dad's plate. He didn't look up from his phone. Ashley giggled. "That's cute, Elle. Is that like a hobby thing?" It wasn't even contempt. Just dismissal. That's what hurt the most. Not hatred. Not anger. Indifference. I started keeping things to myself. My wins. My fears. My thoughts. Because what was the point of speaking up if no one really listened? I wasn't bitter. Not then. Just tired. Quiet. Numb. But inside, I had this quiet wish that one day, they'd regret overlooking me. I didn't want revenge. I just wanted to matter. That's what made last night's family meeting sting in a different way. It didn't come from nowhere. It was the final stamp on a long list of dismissals. And now, for the first time in years, I wasn't feeling numb. I was feeling clear. My sister Ashley was born with a spotlight that never seemed to turn off. It wasn't just that she was pretty, though everyone said she had the Parker bone structure. It wasn't just that she got good grades, though even her average test scores earned applause. It was the way the world, especially our parents, bent toward her like she was gravity. When Ashley walked into a room, conversations shifted. Even if I was already talking, suddenly everyone was facing her, reacting to her, laughing at whatever she just said. At school events, my parents would bring flowers for Ashley's debate final, her dance recital, her most improved math award. When I got into the National Honor Society, Mom said, "Oh, that's nice, honey," and went back to scrolling through Ashley's prom pictures. Everything in our house seemed tailored around her. Dinner schedules? Built around Ashley's cheer practice. Family vacations? Wherever Ashley wanted to go. Even our living room layout was shifted so her favorite chair had the best view of the TV. When I tried to ask for something, a weekend trip with friends, permission to take an art course, it always somehow became a negotiation about Ashley's time, Ashley's needs, Ashley's plans. Maybe another time, Eliana. Ashley has that college tour coming up. You know your sister's going through a lot right now. Be understanding. It wasn't just favoritism. It was orbit. The rest of us revolved around her. And the most twisted part? Ashley knew it. She wore it like a crown. She didn't have to be mean to me because being kind was optional. Her silence, her casual indifference, her smirks, when I was scolded, they were enough. Like she enjoyed knowing she had power she didn't even have to use. And when she did use it, it was always subtle. She'd accidentally take credit for something I did, or forget to mention my name when someone complimented a joint effort. And when I called it out, she'd flash that innocent look. "You're being so sensitive." That line, "You're too sensitive, Elle." It was a weapon. Used to dismiss, discredit, devalue. Used to make me question my own reality. And I bought it for years. I kept wondering if maybe I was too thin-skinned. Maybe I was the one making problems where there were none. But now, looking back, no. I wasn't imagining it. I was waking up to it. Ashley had a way of making every space her kingdom, and the rest of us her peasants. And last night, when she said, "No one wants you here," it wasn't a new attack. It was the final verdict in a trial I didn't know I was losing. But the thing is, kings fall, queens miscalculate. And Ashley? She had no idea that the one she thought was powerless had finally stopped playing her game. They called it a family meeting, but it felt more like a setup. It was Sunday evening, the kind of evening where the air feels just a little too still, like it's holding its breath. Dad texted in the family group chat, rare for him, and said we should all gather in the living room after dinner. No reason, no context. Just, family meeting, 7 p.m. I showed up right on time. Ashley was already curled into her spot on the couch, legs tucked under her, perfectly put together in her matching lounge set and smug expression. Mom sat with her usual tight smile, holding a cup of tea. Dad leaned back, arms crossed, like a manager about to fire someone. The vibe was off. I sat down slowly, trying to read the room. "What's this about?" I asked. Ashley smiled like she'd been waiting for that question. "It's about you," she said sweetly, "and how your attitude lately has been exhausting." My jaw tightened. "Excuse me?" "You've been so negative," Mom added. "Always distant, always cold." "I've been quiet," I corrected. "Not negative, just done trying." Dad jumped in. "See, that's what we mean. That tone, that bitterness. It's toxic." Toxic. They were calling me toxic? Ashley leaned forward. "You used to be so helpful, Eliana. So easy to manage. What happened?" "Easy to manage." The words slapped harder than I expected. That's all I'd ever been to them, manageable. Not loved, not respected. Just convenient when silent, inconvenient when human. I took a deep breath. "Is this because I said I wouldn't co-sign your apartment application, Ashley?" There it was, the real reason. Ashley had overspent her credit limit. Again. She needed someone to vouch for her. And I had, for once, said no. Her eyes narrowed. "You could have helped, but instead, you're punishing me." "I'm protecting myself," I replied. That's when it happened. Ashley rolled her eyes and said, loud and clear, "You know what? No one wants you here." The room went still. And then the part that broke something inside me. Mom looked down. Dad nodded. No one objected. No one rushed to say, "Ashley, that's too far." No one defended me. They just let it sit there, like a truth finally spoken aloud. And I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I stood up, walked past all three of them, and went straight to my room. Pulled out my duffel bag, folded clothes in silence, picked up my sketchbook, laptop, charger. I didn't slam a single door. Didn't make a scene. Didn't even look back. If they thought I was a problem, I'd remove myself from the equation. I left the house 30 minutes later without a word. And not one of them stopped me. Not one voice called out, "Wait." The night air hit me like a reset button. It was cold, sharp, but somehow cleansing. I didn't know where I was going, just that I couldn't stay there another minute. I walked for almost half an hour before pulling out my phone and texting the only person I could think of. Jordan. We weren't best friends, not in the usual sense. But he was the kind of person who noticed. The kind who remembered things others didn't like, how I took my coffee, or that Ashley always talked over me at dinner. When I knocked on his door just after 9 p.m., he opened it without a single question. No judgment in his eyes, just quiet understanding. "You okay?" he asked. I gave him a shrug and a half-hearted smile. "Not really." He stepped aside. "Then come in. I've got leftover pizza and a spare blanket." I slept on his couch that night, wrapped in that blanket, with the sound of city traffic humming through the window, and for the first time in years, no voices telling me who to be. No one asking me to smile more. No one saying I was overreacting. No one pretending I wasn't in the room. Just silence. And it wasn't empty. It was freeing. I woke up late the next morning, sunlight streaking through the blinds, the smell of burnt toast in the air. Then I saw my phone. 39 missed calls. My heart stopped. Not just from Ashley. From my parents. From the family group chat. From unknown numbers. The calm I had felt just minutes before cracked slightly. For a moment, I thought someone had died. I sat up, still holding the blanket, scrolling through the notifications. Missed call Mom. Missed call Dad. Missed call Ashley. Text from Mom. "Please call us. It's urgent." Text from Ashley. "Come home now." The shift was jarring. One night ago, I was told I wasn't wanted. Now they were all begging to reach me? I didn't text back. Not yet. Instead, I got up, made myself some coffee in Jordan's tiny kitchen, and sat on the floor with my legs crossed staring at my phone, watching the notifications keep coming. For once, I wasn't scrambling to fix things. I wasn't apologizing just to keep the peace. I was watching them spiral, and it was strange how little guilt I felt. Because somewhere deep down, I knew. This time, it wasn't my crisis to solve. By noon, I'd already counted 57 missed calls. They weren't just calling, they were desperate. The same voices that had nodded silently as Ashley said, "No one wants you here," were now leaving voicemails like I was the only person on earth who could fix something. I didn't answer. Not yet. I scrolled through the texts instead. "Mom. Eliana, please. It's not what it looked like. Just call us." "Dad. You're being childish. Stop ignoring us. We need you to come home." "Ashley. I know we said some stuff, but you're blowing this out of proportion." Then a new one. "Ashley. Come home now. Something's wrong. We need you." There it was again. "We need you." The same family that spent years treating me like a spare part now acted like I was some missing piece they suddenly couldn't live without. I waited. I let them sweat. For once, I was the one with power. Finally, I texted back 2 words. "What happened?" The response came within a minute. "Mom. Ashley's identity was stolen. Someone emptied her bank account, opened credit cards in her name. The bank froze everything. They need an emergency contact to verify her signature, and your name's the only one on the account from years ago when you helped her set it up." I blinked. "Wait, what?" "That account." I remembered it. Ashley had begged me to co-sign when she first turned 18 because she didn't trust our parents with her financial info. Back then, I was flattered she asked me. I thought maybe she valued me. She didn't. She just needed me to sign something. Now, years later, the bank still had me listed as the primary emergency contact. And suddenly, I wasn't just her sister. I was her only way out. That irony? It tasted better than revenge. I leaned back against the couch cushion and stared at the message. She didn't miss me. They didn't want me back. They needed me. There's a difference. A big one. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. More messages followed. Dad, we don't have time for this attitude. Just get here. Mom, please, Eliana. This is serious. We can't access anything. She's falling apart. And then, Ashley, you're really going to let me go through this alone? After everything? I almost laughed. After everything? I was the one left out. Ignored. Labeled dramatic. Told I wasn't wanted. But now, suddenly, I was important? I put my phone down on the coffee table and let out a long breath. Jordan walked in with a bowl of cereal and raised an eyebrow. You okay? I nodded slowly. Yeah, I think I am. Then I added, almost to myself, now let's see how much they're willing to crawl. I didn't rush. That was the best part. For once, I wasn't the one scrambling, apologizing, shrinking myself to soothe someone else's chaos. I let another hour pass. Then 2. Let them twist. Then, just after 3 p.m., I replied, meet me outside. I'll be there in 20 minutes. I didn't tell them where I was coming from. Didn't tell them I'd slept on a couch. Didn't tell them that for the first time in years, I'd woken up without the weight of them on my chest. I borrowed Jordan's car, he tossed me the keys without question, and drove back to the house I used to call home. It looked the same. But I didn't. My shoulders were straighter. My face calm. My heart steady. When I pulled up, all 3 of them were already outside. Ashley was pacing, phone in hand, mascara slightly smudged. Mom stood with her arms folded tight, eyes red. Dad was standing rigid, like a man whose authority had finally been questioned. I stepped out of the car, slow and deliberate. No smile. No hello. Just, so, who wants to tell me what happened? Ashley launched in first. My accounts are locked. I can't get anything unfrozen without verification. The bank said you're still the emergency contact. I don't know why that never got changed. You never bothered? I said coolly. Because you only think about me when you need something. Ashley blinked. Mom stepped forward. Eliana, please, we know this is complicated, but we really need your help. I looked her in the eye. Last night, you nodded when Ashley said no one wanted me here. Her lips parted, but no words came. Dad interjected, his voice tight. We don't have time for this emotional detour. This is a family emergency. I raised an eyebrow. Ah, now I'm family. That made him flinch. Ashley crossed her arms. Look, I'm sorry you're mad. I'm not mad, I interrupted. I'm awake. I turned to all of them, letting my gaze settle on each face. For years, I accepted being invisible. I accepted silence as love, crumbs as praise. I bent backwards to be enough for people who didn't even see me. No one's perfect, Mom said, her voice shaking. No, I replied. But some people are cruel, and others stand by and let it happen. Silence. The kind of silence that says, they know I'm right. I took a step closer. You want me to go to the bank? To verify my name? To save Ashley from a mess she probably caused by ignoring everything I warned her about years ago? Ashley winced. Fine, I said. But I want something first. Dad's jaw clenched. Money? Is that it? I laughed once cold and sharp. No, not money. I want a public apology. Ashley blinked. Excuse me? You heard me. In the family group chat. I want each of you to admit how you treated me. And I want you to thank me sincerely for helping now. That's ridiculous, Dad barked. I turned to leave. Okay. Then, good luck finding another emergency contact. Wait! Mom grabbed my arm. Please, can't we handle this privately? No, I said. You humiliated me publicly. So now you own it publicly. They hesitated, stared at one another like they were debating how far to bend. I didn't wait. I got back in the car, shut the door, and started the engine. That's when my phone buzzed. New message from Dad in the family group chat. We need to talk about how we've treated Eliana. It was stiff, Awkward. Clearly written through gritted teeth. But it was there. Then Mom followed up. Then finally, Ashley, her message short, but real. I'm sorry for what I said. I didn't mean it. I was cruel. Thank you for helping anyway. I read them all. And then? I sent a thumbs up emoji. No words. No promise to help. Just acknowledgement. That's all I ever wanted. And now that I had it, the power had shifted and it wasn't going back. I watched the group chat light up with one forced apology after another. Dad's message read like a legal memo. We need to acknowledge how we've made Eliana feel. Mistakes were made. We hope she can find it in her heart to support us now. Mom's was longer, filled with sugar-coated phrases and passive regret. Eliana, I know we've overlooked you. I know we haven't always shown appreciation. You're an important part of this family. Please help us. Ashley's, to her credit, was at least blunt. I was wrong. I was mean. I'm sorry. I said something I can't take back, and I hope you'll still help me. I read each message carefully, like someone inspecting forged bills. They weren't perfect. They weren't even sincere, not entirely. But they were public. That mattered. For once, they were forced to put into words what I had carried silently for years. So I gave them what they wanted. Almost. I typed slowly. I'll think about it. And then I muted the chat. That evening, I ordered Thai food, turned on some lo-fi music, and curled up on Jordan's couch with a blanket that didn't smell like old expectations. I didn't go to the bank. Not the next day. Not the day after. Let them sit in it. Let them taste that helplessness, the same kind they handed me for years. By Friday, I got another wave of texts. This time more frantic. Dad. We're losing time. Please, just go to the bank. Mom. We're being charged fees. The account is frozen. Ashley's credit might be ruined. And then Ashley sent the best one yet. You're really gonna let me drown for one sentence? One sentence. That's what she called it. As if, no one wants you here, was just a slip-up. As if it hadn't been years in the making, a final blow backed by a lifetime of dismissals. So I replied. You didn't drown because of one sentence. You drowned because you built your raft out of everyone else's silence. I just stepped off. Read. No reply. A few hours later, I got a voicemail from my dad. He didn't yell. He didn't guilt. He just sounded defeated. We understand. You don't owe us anything. But if you do this, we'll never forget it. We'll make it right. Somehow. Somehow. That was the problem. They always acted like writing the past was something vague and optional. But I didn't respond. Not to him. Instead, I opened the family group chat, dropped a single message. You'll figure it out. You always do without me. And for the first time ever, I knew I wasn't being cruel. I was just done. Saturday morning, I woke up to sunlight, warming my face, and the gentle buzz of a quiet phone. No missed calls. No guilt-laced texts. No demands disguised as concern. Just peace. I sat up, stretched slowly, and let myself breathe fully, deeply, like my lungs finally remembered how. Jordan had already left for work. He left a sticky note on the fridge with a doodle of a smiling sun and a message. Help yourself to the cereal. You survived Hell Week. I smiled. A real one. For the first time in forever, I wasn't walking on eggshells. I wasn't trying to earn love that should have been freely given. I wasn't begging to be seen in a house that only ever looked through me. I was alone, and I was okay with that. My phone pinged once. Just one notification. A bank alert. Emergency contact authorization expired. New user added to account. I stared at it for a moment, then deleted it. They had found someone else. Of course they had. They always would. And that was the last confirmation I needed. I had never been indispensable to them, just convenient. I stepped out onto the apartment's tiny balcony, wrapped in my blanket, sipping instant coffee from a chipped mug. The city buzzed below me, Cars, voices, life, and for once, I wasn't bracing for the next blow. I was just being. It would have been easy to fantasize about revenge, to want their world to crumble without me. But I didn't need that. The most powerful thing I could do? Live well, without them. Because the truth is, they may never say the words I needed to hear. They may never become the family I deserved. But I no longer had to carry the weight of hoping they would. I thought about the girl I used to be, the one who sat at family dinners in silence, who edited herself down into someone smaller, quieter, easier to ignore. I whispered to her now, just loud enough for the wind to catch it. You don't have to earn love. You just have to leave when it's not real. That afternoon, I submitted my application for an artist residency program in Seattle, something I had shelved for years because Ashley might need the car or Dad said it was risky. This time, there was no one to talk me out of it. And that night, as I curled up on the same couch with paint under my nails and freedom in my chest, I realized something. They may have told me I wasn't wanted. But in walking away, I found something far better than their approval. I found me.